Well, what's up, good people? It's your boys, the Beards of War, back again. Got myself, Thick Nick Fury, FBR for President, Fat Broker Rambo. Hey, hey, Captain Jack, Score Shirt behind the scenes. All right, here it is, man. The finale, season 3, episode 10, full circle of Yellowjackets, the Pharaoh Femme Fatales, and Travis. And this was a big episode, right? This was the finale. A
Yep,
lot goes on, and I think more so like we were talking about the past timelines and the current. But yeah,
agree.
there's a lot to dissect in this episode. I kind of found myself kind of maybe digging a little bit too deep. I don't know, but we'll get to that. But go ahead, Rambo, man. Start us off, bro.
Yeah, man. So, hey, full spoilers. We're going to be talking all the details pretty much of the entire show up until this point. So, we probably are going to throw some theories out there for what we're looking for, hopefully, with season 4. Hey, Paramount Plus and Showtime, I'm talking to you. Stop fucking around and just go ahead and renew it for season 4. We know you're going to do it. So, please, there's enough shit going on in the world. I need to know that this show is coming back. Uh, So yeah, hey man, we're just gonna go ahead and knock out the current timeline. I'm sorry, I guess it's the 2021 timeline because technically they didn't time jump that far. So we'll refer to it as the present timeline. So the present timeline's pretty quick, right? There's not a whole lot of discovery. Long story short, Ty and Van have I'm sorry, Van technically is in the van. Ty, Van, and Shauna are going to Van's final resting place. They've got the poor woman wrapped up in a carpet, and they got her in Shauna's van, and they're heading to an undisclosed location. There's obviously some tense feelings in that. Like it's awkward as shit, man. Shauna
Yeah.
goes to say something and Ty's not having any of it. So like good Ty has now come back to the surface. That was a sacrifice that Van made in order to kind of bring that personality back. So she inevitably saves Ty by sacrificing herself to Melissa. Melissa's on the lam, man. We don't know where she's at. You get no idea of what that character is doing in this episode. So we're waiting anxiously for season 4's announcement and Hillary Swank to come back into the fold because I suspect that character still has many, many miles of storyline to go. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah, and I will say this, man. Shout out to Ty on digging that grave. What I mean,
yeah,
they
with
didn't show up
fingers,
early in the morning.
knife.
Like, I mean, I'm talking about a pretty substantial grave. If you've never dug a hole before, not necessarily for graves, but a hole is kind of difficult. But one big enough for a body. That's why they always find, the shallow graves and the dog and the dude walking the dog finds the body. That's typically why.
Yeah,
But not only does she bury her, she cuts her heart out and eats it. Why? Again, this might be one of those. Well, we got to keep some things from the past, right? So I'm just gonna eat a little bit of her heart. She gets back to the van, blood on her mouth, and Shauna's like, "Oh, just another day of cannibalism." Like,
yeah,
there's no
yeah.
shock anymore. It's like, yeah, it's expected,
Grr,
And I'm like,
Tuesdays.
secondly, is no one looking like, okay, I get it. They've had this experience together, but are there no other family members or friends that would be like, hey, I haven't seen Van in a while. Anyone know where she might be? Like, it's almost like, yeah, we'll just bury the body in a undisclosed location off the side of a road, and that's just gonna be the end of that. Wipe our hands of it. No one's gonna be looking for her. I
Yeah,
don't
man. I
know.
mean, if you don't return a text in an hour, people are usually starting to get a little worrisome this day and age. So, like, I find it interesting that they're just gonna, for lack of a better term, disappear her from the planet, and to think that there's not going to be any potential fallout from that.
Right. But movie magic,
You
we
know,
get it.
what will be interesting is because obviously whoever like, and we're going to go down a rampage or sorry, a rabbit hole in this one, but say her body is discovered, that's going to obviously lead to a homicide investigation because they're going to be like, hey man, no one buries a body. Oh my god, the heart's been ripped out with 3 strikes and no cracked
Right.
rib cage tools. Anyways, that's neither here nor there.
And these girls are celebrities. Like, they're
Right.
they're local
So,
celebrities. So
and
they're dying, right? Natalie's
exactly.
died, Lottie's died now. All of the van disappears. Someone can pretty much pick this up pretty quickly. Okay, ladies, we need to talk to you.
Right. So here's what's going to happen, right? So, like, if Van's body gets discovered, they're going to go down that nefarious path for the investigation, and rightfully fucking so. And then all of a sudden, they're going to be like, hey, associates, friends, family, you pulled that list, right? What's going to be interesting is they're going to see Natalie is dead of a suicide overdose, and now, shit, who just died?
Van,
Lottie. Lottie.
oh, Lottie, yeah, Lottie, right?
Under strange circumstances, Lottie's dad paid off the police officer. At least that's what we have been alluded to, right? So like
Mm.
you have the ability to open up a can of worms here, and it potentially is gonna be bad for you.
Yeah, Misty's
um
doing God's work out there with the investigations. The police apparently have no clue. I don't know who's investigating any of these deaths, but Misty put her on it. She's all over it.
right? And I think you're going to see a formidable side of her coming out. And I think she's going to be top dog, man. She's going to be the
Yeah.
antler queen at the end of the series. I don't see that going any other way except for that to occur. I think, unless they're all dead. But Shauna's not coming away from this alive. Ty's probably not coming away from this alive. Um, those kind of things are gonna those. It's just not gonna happen. I think if anyone stands a chance of living here, it's probably gonna be Misty. And I'm not saying Jeff or Callie either, because those two characters could probably maybe Callie might survive this entire thing, but
Oh yeah, we got to get into that, don't we?
I think
The
yeah, we do.
whole
So
Cali
let's
situation.
move into this. So while this is all happening and they're doing the worst, crime scene cleanup in history, um, Misty shows up at a high school where Callie is vaping underneath the bleachers of an exterior stadium field and basically confronts her. He's like, "Hey, I know you killed Lottie." And we go into a flashback sequence. And so down in the underbelly of this apartment complex or high-end building, I don't know, they have the penthouse, so I'm assuming it's an apartment complex. She's got like this cathedral of fucking candles lit down there. And no one ever seems to come down there because obviously she's been there multiple times. We've seen this entire location probably every season in a vision of Lottie's. And we know she's found there dead, right? What was there is what I'm kind of curious about because the episode opens with Lottie having like her death experience, which was different from everybody else. The younger version actually comes to her in the morgue and then brings her into that scene, like the basement. So now in this flashback, we're seeing it again, and then where Lottie kind of goes a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and insinuates to Callie that she's the chosen one. Well, I'm paraphrasing, but basically the wilderness took their child, and then the wilderness gave them, not
Hmm.
not not
Not
Shauna, but
Shauna.
them,
Right.
her, and she is more powerful than Shauna, and
Like it
that's
was
why
the
Shauna could never
grooming.
love her because Shauna was ultimately jealous of her natural power. I'm not sure. Um,
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and then Callie pushes her off the stairs and boom, she's dead.
I got a lot to unpack there. Okay.
Oh yeah, and then
First
Lottie
of
stole the
all,
tape, and yeah, yeah.
right. First of all, the flashback. Who's flashback? Lottie's dead. Lottie can't have a flashback if she has no conscience, right? So who's dreaming that? How do you get old Lottie meeting new Lottie if new Lottie is dead?
Well,
There
I
has to be a consciousness somewhere, right?
not
Because
necessarily because the other characters have had their death visions where their younger versions come for them. Like when Nat died in season two, old Nat's on the aircraft, and then young Nat is talking to her. And same thing with Van. Young Van came to old
on the
Van.
plane. Okay, right. So this
Yeah,
is not like an actual.
so that's the
Oh
thing.
shit! I'm like,
Like
what the fuck? Did Lottie come back to life? Like, okay.
if
So, but
if
usually there has to be a consciousness for a flashback to occur. Like, whose dream sequence are we in if there are no dreams?
so
But I
what
get what
would
you're saying. It was kind of
yeah.
like, but I was under the impression like, okay, Lottie been dead for a few days. If we would have had that transition phase, it would have happened, days ago, like when she first died, right? So
Hmm.
I'm not even sure how much time has passed. But
Well,
then
at least 6 weeks because that's when the season started. Was 6 weeks after her. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was Nat's death. So yeah, we
right,
don't know how long Lottie's been
how
gone.
long it's
She's
been,
so
right?
many people are
Okay.
dying. I can't keep track.
Right. So all right. So I'll let that part go. Then we have a lot of like what I call coincidental gems, right?
Yeah,
So
it's fair.
Callie happens to know, where Lottie lives, is able to get to the penthouse, happens to Lottie just happens to be in the lobby. Great. I don't even have to go up there, try to get to security, get to her apartment, whatever. Cool. She's right down in the lobby. And then she proceeds to say, "Oh, you have my tape." Oh yeah, it's right here. Wow, really? So you're just walking around with the tape in your pocket because were you expecting to see Callie? I don't think so. Secondly, how does Lottie know what's on the tape if she wasn't aware of the tape? Unless, like I said, I miss it. Sometimes, I don't catch all of the nuances in the episodes. But how does Lottie know that that tape is important? It wasn't like it was labeled like, wilderness screams.
Yeah.
So, like, how does she know that was a valuable tape to take? And then that Callie's going to confront her about it, like, oh yeah, it's right here. And then they go into this whole back and forth between who she is, which is fine. But just a coincidence of
Hmm.
all that kind of just coming into play. And it's like, oh yeah, and then she just pushes her down the steps and takes the tape and blah blah blah. Because at this point, neither one of them know what's on the tape, supposedly. But I'm pretty sure Lottie knows. But again, she has to know that tape exists in the first place.
And so the jest that you always make about how time travel can fix any problem in a movie to include bad
Hmm.
writing. I look at it this way: we don't know what's going to happen in the future seasons of the past timeline, and I sound stupid saying that, but that's the reality. So there could
What
be
time jumps will
some
do to you.
right? So there could be something that we haven't seen yet that alludes to Lottie knowing about the tape, right? Here's the other
Hmm.
thing that I thought about too, because we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but the letter that Melissa actually did have in the envelope, what happened to the envelope? Because yes, we had that scene where the letter slides under the fridge when Callie first retrieved it, trying to hide it from Jeff, and she kind of takes it to her side. Letter falls out. Cool, man. I'll buy that for $1. Fine.
Hmm.
Um, what happened to the envelope, right? Because the envelope was very telling. That symbol being addressed to Shauna Shipman instead of her married name. So, like, if what I'm kind of curious about is what would have compelled Lottie to rummage around a 16, 17-year-old girl's room looking for evidence of a crime.
Right.
It seems very specific. So, like, I do hope they kind of answer that because I do consider that to be a fairly glaring plot hole on this specific matter. I'd also say a glaring plot hole is the police department's inability to do their job. But hey, man,
Right.
otherwise we wouldn't have a show.
Well, I think they killed the only cop that was interested in the investigation. Right. Walter killed him like what, season two? I don't.
Right. But there's bodies getting stacked of yellow
Oh,
jackets, and this corrupt cop has got to know, be like, oh man, I should have done something about that. And be like, no, let's go.
put it on the pile, Jeff. Got it.
Yeah, yeah. So we jump forward after that sequence. We go to shit, I lost my place. Sorry, guys.
That's cool.
So
What
yeah,
Callie talks to
so
Jeff.
yes, so then Callie talks to Jeff. They kind of have a shared breakdown moment, and Jeff's kind of snaps. He's like, "Fuck it." They're gonna grab their stuff and they're gonna go. That's what it's alluded to, and it gets confirmed later in the episode. Moving forward, we do see that Van's having this really deep conversation at the cafe, I
Ty.
believe. I'm sorry. Jesus.
Hmm.
See, so
Ty
many
and
people
Misty.
dying, I can't keep them straight.
Right.
Yes, Ty, thank you, is having this conversation, but it's the camera's kind of panned on her, and it's from the cafe from season one where Shauna and her met. And for a split second there, you almost think that maybe she's having a conversation with the
With
other half,
herself.
with
Right.
herself, like her split
Yeah.
personality. And then it kind of pans out, and there's Misty. They allude to that there's only going to be one yellow jacket standing in the end, and they don't want it to be Shauna. They know that, so it's kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing. And so it seems like Misty and Ty are teaming up. But well, you could have saw that coming because Ty is absolutely going to blame Shauna for Van's death. And Misty is fucking completely done with Shauna because after she came to the house accusing her of like why she was talking to Callie and blah blah blah, she's pissed because like all the plates kind came falling down that Shauna was trying to juggle in the air. And now people know who Shauna is and what kind of crazy she's capable of. So,
Right. But I think
but
they were aware of that too. Like this is not new for the ladies. They saw Shauna back in the past timeline, and she was already,
yeah,
oh, I'm in charge, I'm the alpha, that kind of thing. So you already kind of knew she couldn't be trusted, or that she was going to put her best interest at the forefront. So now
absolutely.
it's kind of like, okay, dealing with her in the current timeline. Yeah, we're probably, and like like Ty said, we forgot that. It's almost like it, like we kind of just, put it out of our mind. That's what she was like. And now it's like, why is she different now? And she's really not.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm curious because the present timeline leads us in they didn't really add a lot to it. So the season finale for the present timeline was a little bit
Right.
I would say
Just
underwhelming.
Shauna, right? Just ripping, like reading the letter from Melissa, kind
Yeah.
of ripping it up and disposing of it, that kind of thing. So it didn't leave much for the current timeline, other than we know that Shauna's family is on the lam. Melissa can't be found. Ty and Misty are kind of forming a little duo to possibly take Shauna out. Because there's only like a couple of them left now. It's between
Yeah.
Ty, Misty, Shauna, and Melissa. So there's really only four, unless there are other, obviously Yellowjackets who may have made it from, the past to the current time that are still around because we know Natalie and Van and Travis are no longer with us. So, yeah, I think that's about covers the current timeline.
Yeah. So what's interesting about that too, though, is that like the I know that there was some fan theories that Adult Tequila was getting cast, but so far there's only been like rumors. I know I've seen some images that suggest to be like, oh man, they call her Teen Aquila on the casting room door, and that means that there's gonna be an adult. I would tell you that I don't think that they can introduce a whole lot more as far as like survivors, because I think at this point, like, be like, how the fuck do you not know that all this is happening to the rest of your teammates?
Right. Right.
Um, but hey, man, it is what it is. I mean, I'm still very excited to see where it goes. I think the present timeline is gonna be a slow burn until the very end because I don't know that you have that much more drama that you can kind of impact there. Like the stage is kind of set for the final showdown of the present timeline. I could kind of see this being, I could see season 4 being the end.
Yeah. Well, it did take 3 seasons to get Melissa.
True,
So
true. So you still have plenty
yeah,
to build up, and it would be interesting because she mentions her like spiritual advisor, not psychologist or anything, Barbara.
Barbara.
Like
Right.
that could be Aquila. Like maybe the two of them broke off and went into hiding together. Like I would give them that. I don't think beyond that, I don't think you got much more. I think the biggest takes away or the biggest surprises will definitely be Melissa and Walter. That connection is there somewhere, and I think that's where the story's going. I think they're
Yeah.
pitting each other. I think they're pitting the Yellowjackets against each other in order to
Right.
take out the last person remaining as part of whatever revenge scheme they might have going.
Yeah. Because you do see Walter kind of listening in on that conversation between Ty
Right?
and Misty in the diner, or is that something Misty may have set up? I mean,
Yeah, could be an
but
Overwatch
because
position.
otherwise, like, how would Walter know that's where they're meeting unless he's following? Misty's
Exactly.
kind of she's very savvy with that. Like you really can't get anything over on Misty, and she's just really just watching her character like develop from how she was as a child, very calculated. Like Misty doesn't make mistakes, bro. Like I will say that Misty is on point with how she's working. So I think that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just gonna leave it there. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep talking in circles on the same subject. So I
Cool.
mean, let's get into the past timeline, man. I just think it's gonna boil down to Melissa being a villain with Walter and Misty being the last person standing. I think it's gonna be great.
Could be. I agree.
So man, yes, the past timeline. This is where the moneymaker is for the finale. What's great is it opens to the scene where we kind of left off on the episode 9, the penultimate, if you're going to be fancy about it. I think it's
Nice.
penultimate.
I
Whatever.
like that.
The episode before the finale. So Nat has stumbled upon Misty's hiding place for the transponder from the plane.
Right.
And then it occurs to Misty, or it occurs to Nat. She's like, you caused this. We could have been out of here this entire time. And without even giving Missy a chance, you just fucking straight clocks her across the face, man. Be like, she deserved that for a very long time.
Yeah, she got a
Um,
flight.
but what's interesting is, like my wife was mentioning, she's like, I think that Misty views Nat as her best friend because Nat doesn't give her up. Because you got to figure at this point in the game, man, if Nat goes back, is like Misty had the transponder, she broke it, or even that you just had it, they'll just kill that chick. She'll be dead
Right.
than
And that's
shit.
what she said. She's like, are you going to tell everyone? That's the first thing that was her only concern was whether or not Nat was going to tell everyone. So the fact that Nat did hold her secret, it did show like, okay, she does have some level of, a connection with her that she didn't turn her over. But it could have been for Nat's benefit to, oh, I need to get out of here. So I'm going to, kind of hold on to this. We'll deal
Right.
with it later. But right now, I'm going to put it aside because the bigger thing is to get out of here.
Right. And then the point that Misty makes, she doesn't even bat an eye when she's like, when she knows that it's the jig is up and Nat's pissed at her because she took that blow to the face. She's like, I can fix it. And she alludes to the sat phone and her and Van have been working on it. Be like, I think that pulled Nat back from the edge of being like, oh no, fuck you, bitch. You're gonna burn for this. She's
Right.
like, no, because getting out is the most important thing because she obviously clearly realizes that Shauna's going completely nuts and taking everybody with him.
Yeah.
Um, so that's where it gets interesting because the next scene is basically you're back at camp and Nat is being thrown out of her hut and they do some fucking cell tossing. It's just Shauna exerting power over the entire group while just focusing on Nat, but she's making it known that she's not gonna deal with like the rebellion or the resistance inside of camp very well, and she's using Nat as to make an example out of her. That's how I took
Right.
it.
Yeah, and Hannah has adapted quickly. Okay, Hannah's
Really quick.
already said, "Oh yeah, I'm teaming with Shauna because this is the way I can kind of manipulate the whole situation to get out of here." Because like,
Yep.
listen, if I'm not all on Team Shauna, she's gonna kill me. That way, no one gets out of here. So
Right.
Hannah is not as, I guess I'll say, innocent as she appears. She seems to have that type of mindset of, okay, survival of the fittest. This is what I need to do. She's quickly bought in. Like she's not questioning, oh, why are we eating the body? Like she's okay, cool. I'm down. Everything. I'm on point. And then, so her having her as kind of like the wild card is working out. And then they get to the Queen of Hearts
Mm.
game,
Yes.
who's gonna get the business, right?
Yes.
And Ty and Van was like, it can't be us. So, you know how to manipulate the cards, do it. So the intent was to have Hannah pick the card because she was the outsider. She wasn't someone that they were really attached to. And Shauna saw right through it, man. Shauna's like, nope, I'm gonna move over here. That's why I was like, what are the rules of the game? Like, can we all just move from our positions? Like, I'm sitting here picking cards like an idiot, but I could have just went around the circle and just kept avoiding it. until the Queen of Hearts got taken. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what the rules are, but lo and
Yeah,
behold,
and it's so fucked up too, man, because like when Ty and Van allude to the fact that they're stacking the cards, like, man, like you instantly hate them. Be like, oh, fuck you, man. Um,
right? Three
but
card Monty
nothing
having
nearly
action.
as good as when Shauna like looks at Mari and knows that the fucking card is coming because she was picking up on like subtle cues. Yeah,
Hmm.
real subtle cues, Jesus
Right.
Christ. Um, and she's like, tough luck, Mar. And I'm just like, dude, like if you're gonna die, you might as well just start beating the shit out of her. Just
Yeah,
commit, man. Go all in.
that's it.
But she doesn't, because Shauna's got the gun.
Yeah, and
And
she understands the game.
yeah, so they lay everything out to basically say that Lottie starts with saying that they need a hunt because the wilderness feels disrespected. Everyone they've killed, aside from like Javi and Jackie, have been enemies, so it was just defending. They think
Hmm.
that a true sacrifice from within has to be happen or has to happen. And what's interesting is it's kind of like told in reverse. It's kind of like watching like Den of Thieves 2, right? So you get or like when you get the heist scene in a movie, you get to see the heist and they usually do like the backwards planning for it. And you get to see how it all kind of came together and be like, oh shit.
Right.
This is kind of that in reverse, man. So like the resistance is formed. We didn't know it yet as an audience. But the first tell is when the hunt is about to begin, you see Aquila and Lottie have had a sequence in the caves and she alludes to like everything that you told me is a lie to Lottie, saying that her hallucinations were real, and she's like, no, but everything you saw is real, right? But they're using it, right? So Aquila's part of the resistance, and she's like, fuck it, and she plants that idea that they need to hunt and to Lottie, and then Lottie, as the shaman of the group, who thinks that Aquila's visions are true, buys into that
Hmm.
propaganda. And before you know it, we have another hunt because they need the hunt as as a decoy for what their true intentions are. Unfortunately, someone's probably gonna fucking die. But I think they also felt like maybe they stood a chance, and the chance for the entire group to get out was worth the squeeze. But at that
Right.
time, they were also giving Hannah up, so it didn't really fucking matter to them, right? But yeah, it was interesting because we go through the hunt. Um, you know, it sucks too, man. Like I was sitting there watching it, and I was like, "Oh, fresh snow." I was like, "Man, that girl doesn't stand a fucking chance." Because
Right.
like, dude, you don't
Tracks,
have to do anything. You just follow the tracks. Like, even if you're gonna try to do something creative and be like, oh, I'm gonna walk this way and then walk back this
which she
way, and
tried
it's not
by
gonna
taking
work.
off her clothes. I didn't understand taking off the shoes. I'm like, why are you
I
stripping right
I
now? Like,
actually didn't get the pants. Like she was wearing like a purple, blue, like those colors are gonna be bright as shit when you're looking at
right,
like foliage and snow. Like that
right.
giveaway is there for days. But like, yeah, why would you take off your fucking footwear, let alone your pants? Dude, just
Hmm.
keep moving.
That's it.
Um, I actually thought for a second she was using it as like an ambush and she was going to get one of them by doing that. I was like, oh, cool, that might work. Then it turned out to
Nope.
be Shauna, and so Ty and Shauna are kind of partnered up. Ty's keeping Shauna close. Sorry, Shauna is keeping Ty close because she believes that she's still stacked the deck and she hasn't called her out on it yet. And then what is it? Ty's keeping her close so that she can kind of manage the chaos that Shauna brings to the table as leader now. And yeah, man, there's some red herrings that get thrown up there. Hannah confronts Nat's getting the sat phone together to make a run for it. Hannah confronts her. Nat's got the drop on her, sticks that stick right in her throat, and is like, and then you have that moment where you're just like, shit, man, are you bullshitting me? Like Hannah is trying to tell Nat she's in on the rescue and wants to help.
Hmm.
But that's a heavy lift of trust right there, man. Especially
Right.
after the last time. When
That's
Hannah
what I'm
straight
saying.
fucked her over. But yeah, so and that
Yeah,
was an
Hannah
interesting.
makes executive decisions on the spot, man, and it's working out for her, right? So her kind of teaming up with Nat allows Nat to do what she needs to do, which we'll get to at the end of this. But going forward, we're also looking at the fact that so Marie is running in through the woods trying to get away from everyone,
Yep.
and she comes across Travis's bungee pit, which actually did work. Like, oh, okay, so that's how she dies. So, they get the body out. Like, okay, she's gonna be the sacrifice. But then Shauna confronts Ty, and Ty's like not backing down from her. Like, she's like,
Yes.
I know you guys
Yes.
attacked that, and like Ty's right back in her face, like back off. And I'm like, oh, okay, so we already have
And
we're
that's
already
gonna be the
having some
setup. That's gonna be the
conflict.
setup for the end of the show. I'm telling you, it's gonna be Nat and Shauna.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you catch the scene though, just before Mari falls in, where Lottie actually like stops her in the woods and she's like, Mari, remember, you've been here before. Like she tries to
Mm.
warn her, But
Right.
Mari can't put it together because she's thinking, you know, like she's in fight or flight
Survival
mode.
mode. Right. Right.
But yeah, and then you see like the eye carvings on the trees and the symbol carvings, and then boop, she's Pit Girl.
Yeah.
Congratulations. 3 years later, we figured it out.
And then
Yeah.
wait, but hold on. There's also the Melissa and Shauna interaction where Melissa's about to choke her out with the branch.
Oh, dude.
And I'm like, oh, okay, well, what's happening here, right? And it's like, oh, I always knew you were boring. Like, what was that? Some kind of like foreplay? Like, I don't know what that was.
So you know what's interesting about that though is that Shauna talks a big game, and yeah, she is a lot crazy. Don't get me wrong, but Shauna
Hmm.
hasn't killed anyone yet. Like she hasn't committed. Nat has. Like,
Yeah,
and her
yeah,
kill was very personal, man. Like very
right.
close. Like you're not shooting a gun. Like you're slowly plunging that shit into somebody's heart. You're gonna lock eye contact. That's gonna stay with you. And that's what's curious because Shauna acts like she's a homicidal maniac, but she hasn't really committed. Like even the dirtiest of deed was cutting Coach's tendon. She handed that off to Melissa.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
present timeline, Shauna will bite the shit out of your bicep and then spit it back in your face and make you eat it. So I mean,
Right.
like
She's
there is a
capable.
she does have crazy all over.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man. So at the end, what ends up happening is they come back from the hunt. They've all eaten. We have the sequence from the pilot opening scene where they're all around, kind of like the Antler Queen. Congratulations, Shauna, as the Antler Queen. Um, you know, they basically don her new apparel, and yeah, so she's it at that moment, right? So what's interesting is that as we come back to camp following that scenario, uh Shauna starts talking shit to Nat as she's walking away, kind of like rubbing in her face, exerting her dominance, kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, she spins her around and she's talking to her, and she's like, "What? You got nothing to say?" Blah blah blah. And Nat puts her head down, like she's just trying to go compliant. And then Shauna pulls the face mask down, and
Hmm.
surprise, surprise, it's Hannah. And then
Yeah.
Shauna loses her collective shit. Um,
Where's
and
Nat?
right, where's Nat? And then we find Nat coming out to, oh man, "Living on the Edge" by Aerosmith breaks
Oh,
on.
that was great.
Wasn't it a
That was
great
a great.
song
Yeah.
choice, man? The whole episode, the
Well done.
soundtrack was fantastic, I thought.
Yeah.
They really do knock it out of the park with music that relates to the film or the series. And yeah, so Shauna's like humping up a mountaintop, and it was great, man, because it's smart. She realizes the antenna is only so big. You got to get above, you know, the I wouldn't say it's a canopy in Canada, but like thick ass trees, man. And like we're not talking jungle, but it's absolutely a lot of foliage and shit that can get in the way of transmitting a signal. So she climbs high and gets above everything.
Yeah.
Doesn't even know how to use a sat phone. Totally understand. But man, she starts hitting buttons and just starts fucking crying in the receiver. And then we got, I think, two confirmations of a voice
Yeah. Clear
saying
voice. He
that
said, "I can hear you."
I can hear you. Right. So rescue's coming, man. I give them like 3 episodes into season 4. Once again, Paramount, Showtime, looking at you, motherfuckers. Um, I give them like 3 episodes before they're rescued, and we go into the post-rescue teen timeline. And I think that's where shit's gonna get really weird.
I agree. I agree, man. And also I want to give a shout out to Marie Alexa Barajas who played that character. Anytime we lose main character, man, we kind of want to give him a little bit of honor. Great job by her on the show. That death scene was pretty gruesome, man. I mean, she was getting spikes like through the face, and
Yeah,
uh, but it was one of those, the whole her interaction with Coach Scott and all that stuff. Her character, came to its demise, so we know we're not going to see her or a version of her in the current timeline. But shout out to the young actress, and hopefully this is a springboard for her to do much more in the future. But yeah, shout out to you, Alexa Barajas.
yeah.
Good
Rest in
job.
peace,
Good
Mari.
job. Good job.
But yeah, man. I mean, that was pretty much. Um, that was pretty much it. I'm trying to think if there's anything that we. Sorry, guys, we kind of like bounced over some stuff pretty quick on this one.
Yeah, but yeah, like
Um, we're in a
for the
time
past
crunch.
timeline, and Travis is almost like, what reality are we in? So it's almost like who knows which end is up. And the thing is, and this is another poignant thing that we actually didn't cover, was how Shauna felt like they were having fun. She was the queen there. So she really didn't want to leave. Like she was empowered by that place, right?
Yeah,
And I believe Lottie was as well. And it made it more difficult for them to let that go and go back to the real world where they were just soccer players or just a teenage
or just
mom or
kids.
or
Yeah,
whatever it was, right? So it was harder for excuse me, those people let go because they have positions of influence that they're not going to have back in the world. So that's why Shauna kind of is playing this house mom role, which is not really her. Like, so she's already like drinking and stuff back at the house. The family's gone. So Shauna's gonna get dark in season 4. I see it. I see
Oh
it
yeah.
coming that way. Yeah.
So, we kind of glossed over it real quick, but when Shauna finds the letter of convenient writing slipped underneath the refrigerator, because that was a bit on the nose, I'm not gonna lie, man.
Mhm.
Um, so I pause on the image. It doesn't really allude to anything. It talks about like forgiveness and moving past things and stuff like that. I still think this is an elaborate fucking gaslighting by Melissa and whoever she's connected to, man, because there's all kinds of psycho shit going on in Hillary Swank's face in those couple episodes. Like you could see her like being like, "Hey, I'm being this innocent like, you know, wife, kid goes to church, blah blah blah, this person," and then on a flip of the switch, if she had the power position, you'd think she'd try to fucking hit you in the face with a tree again.
Right. Exactly. That's it. Melissa's
I don't
there's
believe her
something deep
shtick.
about her.
Oh yeah.
You don't get to play dead for years and not have something going on other than a family.
Yeah,
No,
that's why.
dude, you're doing something. Like
Like
you're
if they had
doing
like
something.
like a support group for like families of the fallen folks from the soccer team or something like that, I could see like those relatives kind of coming to the surface and finding like the survivors and that kind of cliquish revenge thing
Right.
coming apart. Because
Yeah.
if you look at it, man, like Melissa was in good for a long time in the camp, especially with Shauna, until she wasn't. And
Right.
then she went completely nuts. And then she alludes to the fact that like when we got home, I wasn't one of you anymore. So she's been isolated, right? Probably because she tried to choke her with a tree in the fucking woods. Um, but yeah, man. So the divisions are there. It's kind of like we've set our teams now in the current and the past timelines, and it's just a war of attrition. So I can't wait to see where season 4 goes. Please don't make me wait 2 years.
Oh man, I can't. I can't wait 2 years. Like, let's get this thing going, man. We
Yeah,
want to end this on a high note, and I think 4 seasons is enough. Like I said, those really good shows leave you wanting more, right? But
yeah,
I think we've kind of got a full story going. Like, I think we can wrap it up in one more season, even if it's popular. That's a lot of times that's the death of a show, right? So popular that you just want to keep them coming, even though
yeah.
you don't really have a storyline left. It's like, well,
Supernatural.
man, people just want it. Walking Dead. I keep coming back to Walking Dead, but
Yeah,
The Walking Dead was about 5 seasons too long, 6 seasons too long. But that's neither here nor there. I'm here for next year. That was our season finale, Yellow Jacket. So we'll have much more to come. We are going to check out Sinners
Sinners on
coming
Thursday.
up.
Yeah, and then we'll
I
review it
am
on
excited for that, man.
Tuesday.
I'm excited for
No,
that one, dude.
so we're
I'm
also
hearing
doing
good things.
Last of Us. So we got to do
Yes,
that
Last
too.
of Us will be
So we'll do
the
Last of Us
series.
live on Tuesday, probably do Sinners on Wednesday.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Hope you
man.
guys join us, man. Like, come out. Come out to Annapolis Mall Theater. That's where we go check out our
Yeah,
movies,
man.
man.
AMC 11.
Be great to see you guys there.
And side note, I'm going to see an early screening of The Accountant 2. AMC hooked us up. And so I'm going to go check it out tonight. And I'll probably do a short video and let you guys know my initial thoughts. No spoilers, thumbs up or down. That's pretty much about it because it doesn't come out for like another 2 weeks. So that
Sweet.
being said, man, I think I'm pretty much good on this end. You?
Same here, man.
All
Your boy
right.
Thick Nick Fury out here.
Fat Broken Rambo out here. Be good to each other.